saw the book, she really went crazy. And Dad, you don't
That's
know
great to
anything
hear.
about this. Yes.
She
Hey,
snatched it
Code
out of your
Keepers.
hands.
She did. She snatched it out of my hand. Code Keepers. We have Daniel, and I'm going to have him pronounce his last name because I might mess it up. I think it's Shumski. Is it Shumski?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. We have Daniel Shumski who's in with us today for Get on Code, and as you know, our code is empowerment. And I know you're saying, Seiko, what does this book have to do with empowerment? Stay tuned. All right, welcome to Get on Code, the Fly Guy Show, which is a series of melanated conversations focused on empowerment, health, wealth, and knowledge of self.
People think in binary choices because they are conditioned to.
And on the wall was a picture of a wolf and a lion. I think the wolf was the Democratic Party, the lion was the Republicans.
But the drug trade and all these illegal stuff that people do, that's still economics. It's just that they couldn't do it in a traditional system.
We're talking about melanated wealth.
So we can build wealth, but we just, for some reason, don't seem to be able to transfer it.
You had a great experience. Fine. That means nothing.
What were you told as a child about education? You had to be how many times better?
Every impression without an expression becomes depression.
Hey, Code Keepers, we're back with another great episode with Get on Code, and look what I have. Look what I have. It says perfection in the bag, and that's a cooking technique, I believe. But I actually think it's perfection in this book. I tell you, some of these recipes. Can you see this? Can you see this? This is just beautiful. Steakhouse sirloin with mushroom sauce. Man. Yeah, and look, my favorite one, this was the one I had little tabs on, was the Korean style short ribs. Korean style short. Now, I know you're saying, hey, I can't see the picture very well. What that means is that you need to buy the book. You need to buy the book. Pick up the book. And we have the author of said book here with us. Hey, Daniel, pronounce your last name and then tell us about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So the last name is Shumski, and thank you for showing the book. I'm a former journalist turned cookbook author, and so this is my fourth book. My last book was about the Instant Pot, that pressure cooker thing that people were going crazy for maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And this is another really cool cooking technique that I wanted to show people how to take advantage of. And so I wrote How to Sous Vide.
How to Sous Vide. So, and you mentioned that you wrote 4 other books. How to Instant Pot was one. Will It Waffle. That sounds intriguing. And then your newest book, the one that we're really excited about, How to Sous Vide. That's beautiful. Will It Waffle.
That book was a ton of fun. It feels like it was so long ago for me now, but man, that book was so much fun. And there's something about waffles that just kind of it's hard to take yourself too seriously when you're talking about waffles. Just the word itself is fun, and the cooking was a ton of fun too. So that was a fantastic start. And it's one of these things where the path has led me to another book, and then this book too. And it all comes down right now to this How to Sous Vide book for me.
Beautiful. Well, I love the recipes in the book. And so the question that most of our code keepers are saying is like, hey, what's this have to do with empowerment? And I think the best part of this answer was brought to me by my wife. Now, I mentioned earlier, as soon as the book came, as soon as it came from Amazon, my daughter picked it up and said, hey, what's in this? Unwrapped it, said, hey, no, you can't keep this, Dad. I'm the chef in the house. You gotta let me have this. My daughter's on her way to culinary arts school to be a baker, chef, baker.
A baker.
Okay, baker.
Sure.
To make money for the family. She's going to,
there you go.
She's going to use this experience and this education, similar to you, Daniel, to monetize it so they can improve, so she can improve her family. She doesn't have children yet, but at some point she will. Tell us about your family.
Well, I think one thing you're onto is that cooking can be super empowering, and not just for yourself, but it can be a way of sharing that with other people, whether it's friends or family, or, I'm super privileged in that I get to share it with a bunch of people by writing these books and kind of putting them out there into the world, right? So that for me is super exciting to be able to teach people something and to give them a tool to share with other people.
I love it. I love it. I'm cooking for my family. My daughter is our chef, and you're helping create other chefs. And so you've been a reporter or a journalist. You're an author of 4 books, this being one of the best and newest. And you're a chef. So how have these different experiences empowered you and improved your life?
Well, it's really interesting because, I came out of high school and then I went to college and I thought to myself, oh, I want to be a journalist and that's all I ever really want to do. And it was super interesting work and it was super important to me, but life just didn't work out that way. It wasn't meant to be for the long haul. And I was really fortunate in that I sort of, believe it or not, I sort of fell into writing cookbooks. I was just in the right place at the right time, and I ran into the right people, and it's something that's just kind of snowballed from there.
Hmm. It's interesting. Life will allow you to have different routes. And it's interesting how one choice really opens up a lot of different pathways. And that's part of that self empowerment that we focus on the Get On Code show is, that one choice can lead you down many different pathways. In your case, Daniel, a journalist, an author, a best-selling author, I might add. Claps to that. All right. And a chef that teaches people how to provide and bring love in a culinary form to their family. Um,
Yeah, it's exciting for me because, even when I was doing journalism full time, and it was pretty hard news stuff, political corruption and all this kind of stuff. I always had personal interest in cooking. I just didn't know that it would be part of my profession to write about it and to share it with others. And so when that opportunity opened itself up, that was hugely exciting to me, and it still is.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Do you miss anything from your time as a journalist?
Well, I do, but I do a lot. But one of the interesting things that I feel like life has taught me is that you know, I have things I miss about journalism, let's say, but the world has also moved on. Journalism in general is in a different place from when I left it 10 years ago. And we don't have to get into all that, just to say that my job doesn't exist anymore. So whether I wanted it or not, it's not there for me to have anymore. So I was sort of forced to reinvent myself. And I was just tremendously fortunate that I had, it wasn't even a plan B. It was just something else that I enjoyed, and then I realized, hey, there is a way to make this into a career, and then so I just kind of pivoted in that direction.
Wow, and you pivoted into authorship and into
Yeah,
business.
yeah, yeah, I did. I put myself out there as a blogger. I mean, this is going back more than 10 years. And an editor at my publishing house. At the place that is now my publishing house. And she was a stranger at the time. She came across my blog and she sent me an email and said, "Hey, how would you like to write a book?" And I thought, I think I would like that. Thank you very much. And because of the stuff I had done in the past, I actually had the tools to make that happen.
Absolutely. There's a saying about luck is preparation meeting opportunity. And your experiences, your preparation, and your passion all came together in an email simply say, "Hey, would you like to write a book?" And this is
I,
book number 4.
that's right.
And so now you've monetized your passion.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I mean, when I think about it, it's a little bit unbelievable And, I've talked about it with friends and colleagues, and a bunch of us worry about the fact that the opportunities are not equally available. And while that is true, one of the things that I've come away with from this whole experience is that sometimes it only takes one person. It takes one single connection. And now, how do you find that one connection? That's not easy, okay? That can be difficult, but it can just take one connection. And so there is, I think, some power in knowing that. You don't need to, connect with a million people. It's really only a question of the one right person.
Wow, that's such a great business message, because many of us who have dreams and aspirations to fall and follow your footsteps, uh, we're like, I don't know where to get started. But what's your story so far, just so far, and I'm sure the deeper we get into the weeds, the more roses we're going to find. Your story so far simply says that I took the opportunities that were given to me. I learned and I became a master in my craft as a journalist. I was always doing some cooking and enjoyed it. And I was able to bring those things. So when that opportunity presented itself, Code Keepers, take your talent and develop it. I have an innate belief, and not to get too religious, but I believe that the Almighty, by whatever term or concept you want to use when you deal with the deity, the Almighty provides you with talents and interests that will help you out of any problem that you will face in life. And you mentioned, Daniel, that your career line, that job, that just above broke, just over broke, yeah, that job, job, came to an end. But because of the other things that you had done in preparation, a career developed. That's beautiful, man.
That's exactly right. And it really does, it makes my head spin sometimes. It's not like I could see it all happening at the time, or that I even had the confidence myself to say, like, oh, well, if I just follow this path, in 5 or 10 years, it'll go someplace good. I didn't know that, right? I mean, I was just doing what I could to keep my head above water at the time. But, ultimately, good things came of it.
Hopefully, this, if it's not a bestseller as of today, it's going to be very soon. I mean, you're a best-selling author, so success leaves clues. Tell us a little bit about that experience as a best-selling author. And Code Keepers, we want you to go ahead and get your food on. Get your foodie on. Pick up the book, How to Sous Vide. Some great recipes in here. Like I said, my favorite one was, and I lost the page because, Simply Perfect lamb chops. Now, you can't read it too well, which means you got to get the book. But Simply Perfect lamb chops. Simply Perfect. You can't get more better than Simply Perfect. What was that experience like being a best-selling author?
It's exciting. It's humbling. As I said before, it kind of makes my head spin sometimes. But I think, you've got to also tell yourself that you didn't get here alone. Whether it's my mom, whether it's my partner, my friends, all this kind of stuff, the people who supported me when I was growing up. I mean, it's because of me to some extent that I am where I am, but it's not entirely down to me, right?
Understood. Hey, having great family members, partners, friends, family, children, neighbors, all of the above makes life worth cooking for.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the thing is, let's take as an assumption the idea that I had it within me to do this. I mean, that's all well and good, but at the same time, I can use all the help I can get, right? So,
right.
if people are, pushing me in one direction or that kind of thing, or giving me an opportunity, then I'm gonna want to take it.
All right, that's great. And as you can hear in the background, the phones are starting to ring off. They're trying to order this newest book, How to Sous Vide. Well, you don't have to call. You can just go on Amazon, go to your local bookstore. You can find it all over the web, actually. If you type in How to Sous Vide, you'll be surprised on how many leads, and all roads lead to Daniel. So, one of the things that I really like about this particular manifesto, I'm going to call it a manifesto, is it's helped people feel more capable in their kitchens. Now, one of the areas that we really focus on in empowerment is making sure that everyone feels empowered enough to take life into their own hands, to take your nutritional needs into your own capable hands. And one of the great things about books like this, and we can dare say, cookbooks in general, although I can't really call this a cookbook. It's more than a cookbook, traditional cookbook. You've helped people feel more capable in the kitchen. What type of response have you gotten? Because it wasn't just this book, with Instapot, Will It Waffle, and now How You Sous Vide, you've helped people feel more capable in their kitchen. What type of responses are you getting from your readers?
Well, I tell you, one of the most exciting and rewarding responses has been the people who tell me that their kids got into cooking because of Will It Waffle, for example. Because, it's a fun, approachable technique. It's hard to be, I think, too intimidated by a waffle iron. And so a ton of people have told me that it got their kids into cooking, which is super exciting. And then, it goes right up to adults, where I also hear from adults who said like, oh, I wasn't sure what to do and this kind of thing. But your book really helped clear it up for me. And that's just super rewarding to hear.
Beautiful. Tell us a little bit about some of the recipes that we'll find here. Maybe your favorite recipe, maybe a story about, pork chops with apple cider syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us that story.
Yeah, right. Well, so I think, you'll understand if I say that it's hard to pick favorites, but I will tell you that there are over 100 recipes in the book. And we're talking everything from, meat, poultry, lamb, duck, to eggs, to vegetables. And then, of course, the book finishes with a chapter on dessert. So it's a really wide range of recipes.
Truly. Are there any vegetarian or vegan friendly recipes in the book? Look, I saw the lamb chops and I saw the Korean beefsteak, and I was sold. That I kind of got stuck there.
Right. Well, so sous vide is a technique that is most often associated with meat, but I think I've made pretty clear in the book that there are definitely a lot of options beyond that. So, for example, like I said, there are egg recipes in there, and there are dessert recipes. There's a carrot recipe, an asparagus recipe. So it goes beyond just your basic average steak.
Okay, beautiful. I have a couple of capstone questions that we always ask on the Get On Code show, and I'd like to hit you with a couple of them, and just to get you a deeper understanding of who Daniel is. One of the things that I find is that people who are successful, like yourself, do things very differently than the generations that preceded them. And so I'm going to give you a second to think about it. But the question is, what have you intentionally done different than previous generations to make a better life?
Well, I think the thing that occurs to me in the first place is just that I'm the first generation in my family to go to college and get a bachelor's degree. So that for me right there is probably the big one. It's not that that my mom or that my grandparents didn't value education. They did. They just didn't have the same opportunity. And so I think that's got to be the big one there.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and rock the credentials, man. What school did you attend? Okay, let's shout out your college.
I went to Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois.
Okay. Shout out to Illinois. I know it's kind of cold out there right now. Yeah, my daughter just went to visit her partner out in Chicago, and
Okay.
she's like, "Dad, it's cold out here."
The worst hasn't even started. Are you kidding me?
Ooh. All right, here's the second capstone question. What is something that you're uber passionate about that needs to change in the world?
I think opportunity needs to be more equally available. I think that it's not right that where you grow up or who your parents were should determine so much of your future.
Well stated. Well stated. Um, in your work as a journalist and as an author, have you come across people who just didn't have the same opportunities, and how did that impact you?
I think certainly as a journalist, I did. One of the things that's interesting when you get to this point in your career is I think it's a little bit self-selecting. It's a little bit that you're surrounded by the same kinds of people, maybe the people who have also been afforded the same kinds of opportunities. And that doesn't mean that they all look like you necessarily or sound like you, but it does mean that the backgrounds start to get a little more similar. And that doesn't always have to be bad, but you've got to really be careful because it can definitely become bad.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't want to enjoy a meal that was just made out of yeast.
Yeah, it takes a bunch of ingredients, right? That's right.
Right. And furthermore, I wouldn't want to have a all meat feast. Now, I've
Yeah,
had that in the past. It didn't
right.
work out too well. I've learned to be healthy. I need to have some vegetables. I need to have some fruits. I need to have water. I can have a little wine.
Right.
But I need to have a smorgasbord of things to make sure that my body is healthy, and that I think you're saying that we need to make sure that we include the full diversity of the opportunity and personalities that are here so we can have a more fuller, more healthier life.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And, it's also about balance. So whether that's the publishing industry or, the restaurant industry or just your own life, I think balance is super important. I mean, I've been doing these interviews and people ask me like, oh, you write all these recipes, how do you stay healthy? Well, my answer is that it's about balance. It's like you said, you can't just eat meat for every meal. You need to throw some vegetables in there and you need to have a little bit of activity in your life and this sort of thing, right? So, can you have a glass of wine? Absolutely. I mean, I certainly do, but there needs to be balance there too.
Well, I just received permission to have a glass of wine, so Daniel, I thank you. I thank you. But let's talk about the reason that we got together today, which is your beautiful manifesto. I said the word again. I mean it. It's a great, but it's bigger than a recipe book. This is not your grandma and grandpa's recipe book. It's just not. All right. How to sous vide? Um, what is sous vide? How and what? I guess the thing that I'm kind of wondering is, with a name like sous vide, what are the cultural and historical roots of this technique?
Okay, that's a great question. So, sous vide cooking started out as a cooking technique used in high-end restaurants. And so, like a lot of high-end cooking historically, the term comes from the French. Now, what's happened is that, again, this goes back maybe 20 years, but as time has gone on, the technique has become more available to home cooks too. And so that's why the book exists now, and that's why I'm super excited to share the technique because it's now, it's something that started out at fancy places, but is now available to people at home.
Beautiful. You're helping change lives. You're helping people gain confidence, gain capabilities, and these capabilities and confidence that a person gains by following the recipes and the guides in how to sous vide can really translate into helping them change other parts of their lives. And I guess I'm just really glad I got a chance to talk with somebody who's been so accomplished. So Code Keepers, we've been hanging out and learning and earning, and also going to start cooking with some of these recipes from the good brother Daniel, author of How to Sous Vide. This is his 4th book. And so Code Keepers, just keep in mind that you find something you're passionate about and you place it out in the world so that others can learn, earn, and grow from it, as he's done. 4 books, 4 manifestos, 4 guides. You know, people are better people because of some of the books that he's written. And you'll be a better person when everyone that comes home to your household can come home to some good cooking. So Daniel, last words, man. Anything you want to leave with the Code Keepers and with anyone who may get a chance to enjoy this great discussion?
Well, I just want to say, thank you for the attention to the book, and you can buy it online or in person wherever you buy books. Really, it's just a question of asking or searching for How to Sous Vide.
All right. Well, How to Sous Vide, and interesting. When I saw sous vide, I was thinking French, France, and it started in restaurants here in the United States.
I think in the States, yeah, maybe a little bit in France too. But the point is, honestly, it's gone way beyond that now, right? It's way more extensive, way more inclusive in cuisine. So it may have had some French origins, but we're way past that now.
Well, it has a French name. I guess it may have had an American or influenced origin, kind of like French fries.
Yeah, right. And is that the worst thing to be associated with French fries? I don't know. Sounds okay to me.
I love French fries. Had some yesterday. They're really good with cocktail sauce.
There you go.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and family, pick up the book. Your kitchen will thank you. Daniel, thank you for hanging out with us. And everyone else, learn how to sous vide. Peace and prosperity.